Okay, Tanay Tapi. It's Little Dog here, and I know that we're a little bit late. We're running on Indian time today, okay? So thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for waiting on me as well, too. It is definitely a pleasure to be on here again. It's been a crazy day. Usually we don't do two of these podcasts in the same week. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm actually going to share this live copy and I'm going to share it to the Facebooks, okay? And let me see. Paste. Oops, there we go. So yeah, it is 7 o'clock Indian time, 7:09 for the rest of the world. And we'd like to thank you guys for all joining us today. And it is going to be a great episode. I am really proud to say that, we have some amazing guests that are going to be joining us today, as well as we definitely want to hop into the phrase because this episode won't be airing today. It'll actually, I mean, tomorrow. This episode will be airing next Friday. And so I do want to share something that I'm actually very proud of. This is my little brother of war jersey for this local DFW Kabucha team here in DFW. And I love to support them. I always like to support practices every Sunday between 4 and 6 p.m. Although I'm not sure if the hours are changed. It may change to 3 to 5 because of the light situation. And so, but I'll definitely keep everybody updated on the Facebook. It's at Keast Park every Sunday. Anyways, let's jump into this because we are running behind on, American time. So, last week, we learned a lot of the stuff like hello, how are you, what's up, what are you doing? So we want to go ahead and get into the responses. And this is brought to you by the Blackfoot Learning Academy. So Blackfoot, Blackfoot Learning Academy on Facebook. Okay. So whenever somebody asks you the greetings that we learned over the last couple of weeks, what we're going to do is you can respond with Iksukapi, Iksukapi, which means very good. Now this one comes with a hand gesture. So, you know, you go like this. Sometimes, you can say it without a word. If you do it short, that means I'm doing okay. You do it further, doing good. And go way out there, I'm doing very good. So, Iksukapi, you know, very good. Or else, if it's not a good day, you just say something, Matsukapi, Matsukapi, not good. So, Iksukapi, very good. Matsukapi, not good. Or and I'm still learning this one right here, but Maktukweki, Maktukweki, nothing is happening. So, very good. Iksukapi, Matsukapi, not good. Maktukweki, nothing is happening. So, this has been brought to you by the Blackfoot Learning Academy. Now, whenever we do, uh, whenever we do, I apologize, sir. I'm paying attention to my guests trying to come in. Whenever we do uh, our next guest, whenever we do the recording, this weekend I'm going to be having a spot recorded with Steven Silva Brave, and that will play over the final edit. And so what that is he's going to be giving us a message from MMIW Remagistrate Texas, and you can find them on Facebook. You can find them. They have all sorts of good resources. So if you are a victim of MMIW, you don't know where to go, you don't know who to turn to or who to talk to, contact them. They're on Facebook. It's MMIWTX Rematriates. So Rematriate. MMIWTX Let's see. I apologize. My computer's doing something strange. So this is a great non-for-profit organization. They help with the youth. They help with, like if you look at their most recent post, they have a transgender day of embrace. They have Indian taco sales that they do for their organizations to help them out. Clothes drive. If you want to donate, you can go to their page directly on Facebook and message them. If you need help, you need somebody to turn to, definitely full of resources to turn to. Okay. They are out of Dallas. They have an email address, mmiwtx@gmail.com. And so you're more than welcome to turn to them. They're some awesome people. They are wonderful and they are great to talk to. I know some of them personally, and I gotta say, there's some really good convictions there. So if you're looking for help, that is a good place to start. Now, tonight's guest is special. The first one that we're gonna have on tonight, and she is looks like she is still trying to come into the studio, will be Katie Beth Mem. And I would love to give you some more about her story. I want her to be the one to tell you. She did hop on the preliminary interview with no problem. Um, Sorry. Yep. And so she has a very powerful backstory. There are a lot of people who come into the culture, and due to the way that the government was run and how things were happening before, they were either adopted out or one of their parents, is non-indigenous and didn't tell them anything about their indigenous roots. So as we saw with Janet and several others, that they didn't even know that they were indigenous. And what we like to do is to show everybody that we are still united, that we are not separated. I don't want to be one of the people that hold other people back just because, hey, you know, you don't have a card. Uh, I mean, that helps out, but there are a lot of people out there, a lot of full blooded at the time that didn't have these indigenous cards by the government. And, you know, just because they didn't believe in it, they knew that the government, it was a design scam in some way or another because they kept breaking treaties. You can't break a promise and expect everybody to follow your system. And so there are a lot of people who are left out of the rules for this purpose. There are other people who, because of racism at the time, didn't go by their indigenous roots if they can get away with being considered a different race or uh, mind you, Caucasian, they would go by that. They wouldn't let anybody know that they were indigenous because they knew that what they would be facing if they did. And so, anyways, that's mostly my message right here. I'm not only going to stick with only indigenous actors. It's Native American Heritage Month, and I want to highlight indigenous creators and artists. The show's about highlighting all the artists as a whole, and that's what I want to do. Is there's talents in everybody. There's talents everywhere. You may think, oh, well, let me just be an actor, but you may get into acting and think, you know what? It's not really for me, but you still have skills. You have abilities that go beyond acting. Maybe you're a storyteller. Maybe, you have an eye for the camera. Maybe, you're a behind the scenes guy, who enjoys working on the sets. Honestly, a lot of times people working on the sets get paid a lot more than the background actors. So they actually get paid very well, and it's a steady, consistent job. Without them, the movies that we watch wouldn't be possible. Uh, they go around all day long working hard and following orders just like everybody else. And now, nobody knows their name. Nobody will ever really know their name other than other people on the sets and the production companies that hire them. However, they deserve just as much recognition as everyone else, because if it wasn't for them, they would be always on they will always be, incomplete movies, or it would take forever. The projects that we have will never get done. So big shout out to all the PAs out there, to the ADs, to the directors, to the camera people. All of you guys rock. We really appreciate every one of you. Also, too, big shout out. I know that they get paid more than background, but background, you know, it is it is you guys who, and I started in background too. I do background work still sometimes. So it is the background that makes the world. Without the world would look funny in movies, right? Only the main people would ever be around. It'd be like those lost tapes that somebody found on the other side of the world where everyone's disappeared. So everybody from the PAs to the guys who pick up trash to the people who do the catering to the directors, to the camera people, to the writers. The writers, you don't really hear about them, and but you know, you guys are a big part of the show, and you guys know you are. It's just everybody else doesn't. Being part of the background, you get to see how much work actually goes into it. It just creates a whole new type of appreciation. And so, whenever I first did Bass Reeves, I honestly didn't know what to expect. And when I was on there, it was just like this huge, massive operation. There were hundreds of extras there, and it was just truly an amazing thing to watch. Now, excuse me, I gotta change the setting on mine because I know that if I happen to get a call, it is going to disconnect me. So, and I forgot to do that. So, do not disturb. Yes, I have the laptop open where I can see messages. And so we are having technical difficulties with getting Katie in. Uh, you may be listening to a whole half of just me. I apologize. you know, uh, but I like to give shout outs to everyone who's helped me along the ways, believed in me, given me roles. Ronnie Hummel, I've mentioned her several times on the show. Ronnie Hummel Productions is there. Legacy Casting. Now you can find them on Facebook, or you can go to their website as well. It's www.mycastingfile.com, and you can sign up for a free profile. It's free to put some photos up, free to build your profile and what towns, cities you want to work in. You can go ahead and apply for casting calls too without having to pay any cost. They're really amazing people. It's again ran by Legacy Casting, and they have a lot of other people that put casting calls on there, such as Calavero Casting out of Louisiana, On the Hunt Casting. They do a lot of Texas and Louisiana as well. And I've seen several other people that have been able to get on there and just put casting calls on there. And I've even done a primary job where I was a model for uh, Apple. Kind of it's actually really really cool. It's not something that'll be seen because it's for corporate, but I was able to do it, and it was through Legacy Casting. I've seen commercials that they've posted on there. Oh, perfect. Let her in, please. We don't have a whole lot of time with her. I'm hoping that. Hey, how you doing?
We got you. It just took, I could get in with the email link, but everything else was not letting me in.
Oh wow. Hey, Will, would you mind sending JJ a message and letting him know that we're gonna have to push him back probably about 20 minutes? through the group text message that we have earlier. No, with a text message that you responded to about uploading the Spotify at 5. Yeah, that one has another number attached to it that is JJ. Thank you very much. So, anyways, how are you doing?
Doing good. I apologize that that was taking so long.
Oh no, you're fine. If you wouldn't mind moving the camera back just a little bit so that we can see you. There
Yes,
you
I can.
go.
Yeah. Oh, okay. How's that?
Oh, looks a lot better. We can definitely see you now. All right, cool. I'm checking you out also on YouTube just to make sure that it looks good still, okay? I appreciate you coming on. Uh, would you mind go ahead and I did a little brief introduction for you. Would you mind telling everybody your name and your band name as well? Your tribal affiliation?
Okay. So my name's Katie Beth Mim, and I have a band called Katie Beth Mim and Coyote Rose. We're from Texas, and I'm Ojibwe from the Great Lakes.
Nice. That is awesome. So now, to my understanding, that you had discovered that you were indigenous a little bit later on. Can you tell us a little bit about how that came about and what had happened before then?
Sure. So I was adopted when I was born, and then I met my biological parents when I was about 19 or 20 years old, and that's when I found out that I was Ojibwe.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not the first time I've heard about that. I have a friend actually, or had a friend that was in north part of Fort Worth area, close to Denton, and the same thing happened to him. They adopted him out to a Latino family who was also indigenous, by the way. However, the he was raised not knowing that he was Lakota.
Oh,
And
that's interesting.
so, yeah, so there's it happens a lot more than people think. That first off is, kidnapping because they're not allowed to actually adopt indigenous kids out to non-indigenous families.
Right.
So
See,
that's
and
against the Child Welfare Act that's actually being fought against now.
right. Uh, my parents were just really young teenagers when they had me, and they found a nice older couple to adopt me. That was actually my adopted dad was Hispanic,
Hmm.
and so I grew up in a Hispanic household. But my parents, like I'm very close to my parents now and my biological parents, and they were just very young when they had me.
Okay. It's pretty cool that you did end up in a good family. That's definitely a good story. That's a good story continuation, I guess you will. Because a lot of times, whenever I hear about indigenous kids being adopted out to other cultures or people of other cultures, it usually doesn't have a very good ending. Something bad goes happen. It's a sad story. Now,
Right.
whenever you found out, and I asked this question to just about all my guests as well. Whenever you found out, there's a couple of times where I've talked to a lot of people and they have different range of emotions. Some of them is anger followed with sadness, or sad that starts off as sadness that they don't know how to deal with, turns into anger, and then they find out what the injustices that the government did and they get angry anyways. Did any of that apply to you?
I think whenever I found out, I was a little in shock, kind of. I always knew I was different and I looked different than everybody. I grew up in a very small town in the Texas Panhandle, and I didn't look like anybody, and whenever I would sing and things like that, I didn't sound like anybody else. And so I basically spent my whole life before I knew I was adopted, or well, before I knew my birth parents. Um, I felt a little bit lost and unsure of like, okay, what am I? you know. So um, I think whenever I found out, I was definitely happy because then I felt like, okay, I actually belong somewhere. And everybody that I know that's Ojibwe or Native has been super loving and welcoming to me in the community. And, you know, I have major respect for our culture. I try to learn our language. You know, I dress the same way Ojibwe women dress a lot of times. Me and my husband have been married for 2 years, and he's here with me right here. I don't know if you can see him or not.
There
Excuse
we go.
me.
Now I can see him a little bit.
But ever since, you know, I've known for, I don't know, probably I'm fixing to be 37, so since I was about 19. So that whole time, you know, I've raised my kids, you know, Ojibwe. So that's, you know, that's very important to me, because if we don't speak our language and we don't keep up our traditions, then they die with us. So that's very important to me.
That's awesome. I follow the same philosophy. That's why I try to do the Blackfeet language on the podcast. Not only
Mm.
that, I also teach it to my kids too. We practice it. We practice the same phrases that I'm learning here and teaching everybody else. I
Mm.
practice it with my kiddos, so that way it can be passed on.
Yeah, that's good.
Uh, and so I don't want to be part of the reason why my culture dies. You know.
Yeah, you want to be part of the what do you call it? You don't want to be part of the problem. You want to be part of the solution. Yeah.
Exactly. So, tell us a little bit about your husband. To my understanding, he's a veteran, correct?
Yes. Uh-huh. My husband was a sergeant in the Marines,
Oh,
and he served multiple tours in Iraq. And whenever he came home, he's retired fully 100% now. So, um, but he went to a lot of cool places and fought for us. So I'm very thankful for him. And some of my songs in my music that I do reflect veterans.
okay,
Um,
awesome. Thank you for your service. My producer was also he was a Marine,
Oh, awesome.
and so I think we lost your video.
yes, I don't know what, hold on just a second. It says uploading recording.
Huh.
I don't know what it's doing.
Mine says that it's still going, but we can still hear you, and so which is still good for the Spotify because the Spotify will be audio only. Okay. Hello. I think we lost her. Apologize, technical difficulties, everybody. We appreciate your patience. This is definitely a very different episode. So. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, welcome back.
Okay, sorry. Thank you for joining us after that brief break.
It's all good. So, you actually have a very interesting backstory for something that had happened to you. Do you mind going into it a little bit? We're not gonna go deep into it because I do want to bring you back in May, and possibly we can do a special then. Okay.
Okay.
And so,
Um,
if you don't mind briefly touching on it for our followers, so that way they can get to know you a little bit more. Okay.
okay. So whenever the picture that I have online with the red handprint across my face, that is for MMIW, for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women. And that is something that I feel strongly about. And the reason why is because whenever I was 15 years old, I was actually abducted by two grown men from the Texas Panhandle. And I had um, basically, in a nutshell, I had gone to a high school party with some friends, and I got left at this house, and one of these men had handed me a drink, and I drank it like an idiot, and then I didn't see my family for, you know, I don't like 7 days or almost 10 days. I didn't see my family, and the state troopers and the sheriff's office had found me in their house, and they were getting ready to move me to, um, somewhere in the Dakotas or somewhere. But I was going to completely just disappear like I never existed. And that was extremely traumatic to me. I couldn't talk about it for several years. I'm very thankful that I got to go home and see my family. The things that I endured during that time were extremely traumatic to me. And, it's something I couldn't talk about for a long time because it was so bad. And then, finally, years later, you grow up and, your life changes and things like that. And whenever I seen the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women network, I really wanted to help in any way I could because my heart absolutely breaks for the women that go missing or the people that or the children that go missing. Sometimes guys I know go missing, and we've seen that unfortunately. Um, it breaks my heart because it makes me think sometimes like what was so special about me that I got to come back and see my family and other people didn't. And that's kind of like survivor's guilt, I feel like, kind of. So it is difficult. But in any way that I can help or be an activist for MMIW, I will definitely do it because it's very important and it needs to be done. And, we matter. And that's, people don't realize that statistically we're the most abducted race is Native American people.
Mm-hmm.
And no one can tell us why, and no one can tell us who's doing it. So I hate that everybody kind of that goes in with that falls into a gray area that nobody wants to talk about or mess with because
Yeah.
these people have families. These people are mothers and daughters and cousins and aunts and sons. And I hate that, and I will do whatever I can to help bring awareness to that. So, my photo shoot that I did, one of our really good friends named Stetson Hunter, he used to shoot for Survivor, I believe, right? For the Survivor TV show. We went into Palo Duro Canyon by Amarillo, Texas, and we did this photo shoot. And I've got a lot of really good feedback because people are like, what is this? And then because people from our area in the Texas Panhandle don't know or understand what this is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've brought awareness to the Texas Panhandle, and um, about what it is and just for us to protect our kids and our women and just hold extra tight to them because it is a growing problem, unfortunately. I feel like we have more things to worry about now because so many people were let across our Texas border where we live. And we have people just running amok that we know nothing about.
Known human traffickers.
And known human traffickers, absolutely. So, we're very protective of our children. And I feel like I'm extra protective of them because of that. Because my children are Cherokee and Ojibwe. So, I do worry about them more than normal, probably, just because I want to keep our family and our friends and our community close knit and us just be like the old days, everybody watch out for everybody.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally understand. And, I'm very protective of my children too. I have very cute, very little kids, especially my little girl. Everybody sees her as a little sweetheart. My little guy, he's feisty. He'll fight. But my little girl, she's a little sweetheart. She's kind of, she just kind of moseys on through it. So I got to be really protective of her. However, this is a really big problem. Now, there's an actual organization here in Texas as well. During the final podcast, we're gonna have a message from them, but it's MMIW TX Magistrate. Magistrate. It's Matriot. I'm sorry, I keep saying it wrong. It's one of those words that I keep pronouncing kind of incorrectly, but uh, there will be a link that we share to them as well too. And I think that I actually tagged them in the post whenever I was making your the app for your so that everybody can go to them to support and help out too, especially here in Texas. And so, but anyways, I just wanted to make you aware of that. Now, let's go ahead and like I said, we're gonna save the rest of this for whenever we do our special in May, okay? Because I do want to bring you back on to kind of go into that a bit more.
Okay.
let's go into how you got into entertainment and how it's basically singing and doing music specifically.
Okay. So I actually started singing or showing an interest whenever I was about 8 years old. And I was probably the most uncoolest little kid ever because my parents would only let me listen to like oldies, like Elvis Presley and um, Fats Domino and Reba and Shania Twain and things like that. And
Sounds like
so,
graduation.
I was a 90s country baby for sure. But I started showing interest then. And so I actually grew up not singing. I sang a little bit in choir in high school. And I always did instruments and band and things like that. And whenever I grew up and I met my husband, it's funny, we actually went to a barbecue place to see a guy play that he really liked, and I didn't know this guy. So we went and, we were sitting there having dinner and he was joking around with him while he was playing and he goes, "Hey, my wife can sing." And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, she can, right?" He's like, "Okay, sing for me." So I pulled out like my best Shania Twain ever. Okay. And then I thought, oh my God, you're really making me sing in front of everybody in this restaurant. So I did. I took one for the team. So I did it. And then the guy was like, "You're fantastic. I have to have you in my band. Come join my band." So I was like, okay. And it wound up being Rye Wolf. He's a musician that is kind of a blues Americana guy from around here. And so I traveled with Rye for 2 years. And then this last year in October, he told me, he's like, "Hey, I think you should get a band. Like, you're doing really good. You should do this." And
Produce your album.
and he helped me produce my album, and he's been my mentor, and he's a fantastic guy. But he got me started doing my own band. And so this last year I've been working with my band, and my husband plays guitar in my band, and we have a 6-piece band, and we are just blazing a trail. We recently went to the Texas Country Music Awards. I have a song that's about my dad that I released this last year, and it's called White Horse. And you can listen to it on katiebethmem.com or on any of the music platforms, like Spotify or Apple Music or, Pandora, and all that. And anyway, but we went to the Texas Country Music Awards, and White Horse was voted one of the top songs of the year. And so they put us on an album. It's Texas Country Music Awards Volume 6.
Top picks.
And it's top picks for the year. So that was super cool. So we had, we're getting awards and we're doing good things. And, my band has been amazing. I've got some very, very talented people. I write all of my own songs. My very first album that I did, West Texas Gypsy, is the one that Rye produced. And he just did a beautiful, amazing job on it. And I've had a lot of singles, that we've released. And we have a large following of people on social media. And it's just been really cool. It's been kind of surreal.
That's awesome. It's a great to hear as well. Congratulations on that too for being part of the top picks in the Texas Music Award. That is a great accomplishment. Now we actually have a question from the crowd. It says, "Do you play any of the instruments?"
Yes, I do. So
What's your-
I play what's called a dulcimer, and it's a long neck dulcimer. So it's like this weird skinny guitar type thing. It sounds like a banjo and a mandolin put together. As far as I know, I'm like the only musician I know in on the Texas country music circuit that plays one. I think people see it and they don't know what it is. So it's kind of weird to them and they're like, "Ooh, what is that?" But then they hear me play it and they're like, "That's amazing. That sounds so cool." So, but that's what I played, the long neck dulcimer.
That is awesome. Now, your husband actually you were letting me know that there was a certain program for veterans that he was able to learn guitar through.
Yeah, he can tell you about it.
So I grew up in my younger years, I took guitar lessons probably when I was like 8 or so, but I remembered a few chords and didn't really remember a whole lot. So I knew enough where I could try to practice the chords still. So I got with a program called Guitars for Vets. It's for veterans that it's kind of to try to help with like PTSD and readjustment and all that stuff when you get out of service. But they have a program, like if you live in a big metropolitan area, they typically have a chapter where you go meet up with a teacher and other veterans and learn, but they don't have that in our area. So they did it online for me, like via Zoom or Google apps and stuff. And basically I just took lessons, learning how to play. Honestly, really, when I joined, they said that typically most beginners didn't know as much as what I know. So my teacher kind of focused on teaching me the things I needed to know to be able to play with her and help write songs and do all that stuff, and really learning more music theory. But yeah, and I graduated, they send you a free guitar and stuff. So it was pretty cool. It really helped me out a lot.
That is
I
awesome. That's awesome. to hear.
threw him into the fire kind of. We had a concert come up, and he's like, I told him, I said, I think you should play. And he's like, no, I'm not ready yet. And I'm like, no, I think you should do it. So he did it. And then like a week later, we had our very first radio interview. And so he played on the radio with me. And I think he was a little mortified, but he did a great job. So he's making
That is awesome. That's great. Now, there's a lot of times where I know that some couples have a hard time being around each other all the time, and y'all are about to go on tour. Does that affect you guys, or does that just make you guys stronger?
I think it makes us stronger.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess we're kind of the weird nerdy couple. Like we love being around each other all the time because we're best friends. And
Yeah.
so I'm very thankful that we do get to go on the road together. You know, we tour right now in 3 different states. And I'm thankful that we get to be on stage together. We get to experience these things together because previously when I was in the other band, for 2 years, I was constantly gone and he would do his very best to come watch me and stuff. But it just works a lot better for our family dynamic because we're able to take our children with us on tour. We homeschool some of our kids. So that's been a huge blessing because they're getting to experience, new places and new things and all this new history and business and, just all kinds of great things. So it works good for us as a family, I feel like.
Yeah. I think it's become.
I get tired of going to Whataburger with him in the middle of the night after the concerts, but that's it.
That's one of the requirements that she
You
is.
can't get tired of Whataburger. That's untexted. No, I'm just playing.
Every single time we have a concert, he always is like, okay, and I know the drill. We're going to Whataburger and then drive through for 30 minutes because at that point I really want to just sleep after our concerts.
I think now too, when you asked about us working together, I think that more for you maybe than me, it would probably be awkward to play without us being together because the dynamic we have on stage and just the playing style that I've developed, I've made my own style, but like I really kind of watched like the stuff that she did with Rye Wolf. I really like his style of playing, and he's been kind of one of my role models. And I've kind of taken like just seeing, not necessarily copying what he does, but kind of learning, watching him, and then taking other influences. One of my big influences is Ryan Bingham, and kind of making my own style out of that. So like, I guess if you had another guitar player try to fill in for some of the stuff we're doing now, it would be kind of different. So
Yeah.
I think that just the dynamic that we've created has made us successful at shows.
Well, as far as I know right now, as far as Texas country goes, we're probably one of the very few couples that is performing together. But I mean, I think people really appreciate seeing a couple up there because it's kind of inspirational, I feel like. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, like me and my husband are in our 30s and 40s and we have 6 children between the both of us. And never, ever did I think at this point in my life, God's like, okay, you're going to be musicians. Like,
Man, y'all
really?
were busy.
So we kind of just jumped on that train, and the rest has been history. But it's been a blessing, and it's been great. And we've met so many great people. We've got to meet you, and that's super cool because now you're our friend.
For sure. I really appreciate you guys coming on. I really appreciate y'all's friendship. What is your album? Oh, Texas Gypsy. We already went over that. Now, you said that y'all are about. I saw a post on there that y'all are about to go on the road, right?
Yes. So, well,
We've got 2 shows.
we've got 2 shows this weekend. We've got one tomorrow in Borger, Texas, at Main Street Bar, and then the next day will actually be at the Ranch Rodeo, the World Ranch Rodeo that's in Amarillo.
The finals.
The finals will be there performing. And
Next week we go to New Mexico.
next week we're going to New Mexico. And then what's after that? Back to Amarillo, Texas.
Yes.
We kind of bounce back and forth from New Mexico.
We go to the studio the
And-
weekend after that to record.
That's right. I've got a new song coming out, and we're gonna go record it. So that'll be exciting.
Nice.
Because I've been putting out singles, like what do I have, like 8 or 9 singles this year?
Yeah. So after West Texas Gypsy, she just started cranking out individual songs, putting them on streaming.
Mm-hmm.
We're about due for another one.
Yeah, I try to keep pretty consistent, like every 2 months or so. I'll put
This one will
something
be the
out.
longer gap. I think the last one you did, No Cowgirl, came out in June or
Mhm.
July. Maybe.
Yeah,
But that's because we've been going to a lot of shows.
Yeah.
So.
Mhm.
yeah. Our touring schedule got filled up really, really quickly. We wound up having to get a booking agent, and now we have 3 different agents that we work with in 3 different states. So it kind of just blew up and took off really quickly. So, but that's a good problem to have. So
That is really awesome. That is definitely a good problem to have. Now, this episode is going to be coming out next Friday, and so for everybody that's listening, that's on the live, tomorrow is the 15th, and the day after that is the 16th. Whenever you go to New Mexico, what date would that be?
let me look real quick.
Okay, that way our followers can be able to keep up, and some of them know that we're kind of past that date. But again, next Friday is whenever this episode will actually make it to Spotify, which will be on the 22nd.
Okay.
This will be in New Mexico. Will be November 23rd in Clovis, New Mexico, at the Rails.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So the day after this episode airs, you will actually be in New Mexico at the airs. So, what time does that show start? For everybody,
It's
what's
Hold on. It's at the rails, like a
Rails.
train rail. Yeah, rails.
sorry.
Starts at what time?
6 p.m. New
6
Mexico.
p.m. New Mexico time.
Okay, perfect. I think that's a mountain, right?
If everybody wants to follow us on our tour schedule, they can get on katiebethmem.com, and our whole tour schedule for the whole year is on there with times and places and all that.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for that information. That way, everybody, go to her website, save it as a favorite, keep up to date with them. You said that you have a fan page for your Facebook, correct?
Yes, that will be, they can either do Katie Beth Mem or they can do Catherine Mem. We actually have 2 pages.
Because
Huh?
Okay,
Yeah, if everybody can go to the Katie Beth Mem page, that would be better. Because we're trying to build a following on there.
Okay, perfect.
Facebook doesn't want you sometimes to make different pages, and they act weird about it. So I don't know, whatever. But
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I made a new page for the podcast and had to share it with everyone too. And so it's still building up the followers that I have on my own.
Well,
But
we're
for everybody that's listening to the audio only, it'll be Katie, Katie, Beth, Beth, Mim, Mihm on Facebook. And
people can
so,
follow us on TikTok and Instagram also.
okay, Instagram, TikTok, that way I keep up to you. Now, do you have any music videos that are out yet, or is that something that's in the works?
Yes, we do. If you get on YouTube, we've actually got one through Vivo on YouTube. It's called Kick Rocks. And so people can get on there and watch our music video. This next year, we'll have a new music video, so I'm excited about that. So that's kind of in the making blueprints stage right now.
Kick Rocks is also on, if you have Roku TV, there's a channel you can download called Texas Country Network, which is like CMT kind of. It's all country music videos, and Kick Rocks is on there as well. If you have Fire, what is it? Fire something, not Fire Stick. I don't know,
gosh,
but it's on Roku.
Yes, it's Roku or Fire Stick or
Yeah.
Amazon TV or whatever. Yeah.
And Apple TV.
And I have a question. Actually, it's a question also from my producer. We have our next person waiting on hold because everything got moved back. But would you mind possibly doing like a little riff for the show, something that we could play at the beginning, something like that, or at the end? You know?
Yeah. Right now, or send it to you.
Yeah, that would be great. You could send it to us.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
And that'd be great. We'll definitely put a credit on there for you guys creating the riff for us, okay? And
Okay.
a little intro for us.
Okay.
But thank you guys for coming on the show. For everybody that's listening, check out their album, it's Texas Gypsy, correct?
West Texas.
West Texas Gypsy. And you can find her on all the streaming platforms and her accredited song, White Horse. And so, KatieBethMim.com, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Katie Beth Mim on Facebook as well as YouTube. Now, we thank you guys very, very much, and we'll be talking to you again soon, okay?
Absolutely. Miigwech.
Thank you. You have a wonderful night.
Bye.
All right, bye. All right. Now, our next guest is JJ Fernandez, and he is the owner of TJF Talent. He's an actor, writer, director, and just a really all-around awesome guy. I'll let you tell him a little bit more about himself, where his people are from, and a little bit about his people, because I don't want to mess up the pronunciation. It's really cool and really cool learning about where he is from and a little bit about his people that he's told me. So, without further ado, well, can we go ahead and let JJ in? Hey, JJ, how's it going?
Good, man. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, you looking good, man. I love the interview fit.
Appreciate it, man. You look so professional, man. I feel like I'm gonna be watching Jurassic Park.
Man, dude, just this is me on a daily basis, dude. That's it.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I think the only time that I really like dress down is when I'm home, when I'm in the shorts and just a white beater or something.
I understand. I wear cutoff shirts and shorts all the time too, like basketball shorts.
Yeah. But
So
I'm glad you guys got everything going. I'm sure there's little kinks, right, to work out and stuff. So.
Yes, sir. We were able to get it going. That it's a little bit of a curve with the platform because most podcasts just have live guests, and so but it's really good to have you on, my friend.
I appreciate you.
Introduce yourself to the to our listeners, as well as give a little background about your people, and if you could pronounce it for us, that would be great too.
Yeah, sir. Hello, everybody. My name is JJ Fernandez. I'm the CEO of TJF Talent Management here in San Antonio. Just to get you a little bit about my indigenous roots, We're in the central part of Mexico, in Zacatecas, Mexico, where my family's from. And our indigenous roots come from the Chichimeca. And they're known as a kind of a nomad tribe, warrior like, well, very warrior, nomad, and they were around for, man, for quite a bit of time, I think close to maybe, man, I'm going to say close to 100 years, more or less, kind of, when they first started, were established in that central Mexico, Mexican area and country, state of Zacatecas around there. And, of course, once, the colonizers came, right, and they had that battle between them, and then, man, they gave them a fight for their, a good fight for their, for their money, man. And, later on down the line, of course, well, kind of the same thing happens over there in Mexico, like it does in the States and other indigenous areas, man, where we just kind of end up coming up short. So, but yeah, definitely, yeah, man. So, the Chichimeca, also they're, they speak Nahua. So, and but don't try to tell me to speak anything, because I don't know anything.
Yeah, I won't.
No, man, but something definitely that if I would love to learn and pick up more, but this is also a language that is still around, but it kind of in different parts of Mexico, that it changed, right, quite a bit. So, but yeah, so that's me, guys.
That is awesome, man. Now, for those who don't know, because I keep telling people too, but that they're from like the mountain areas in Mexico, right?
Yeah, correct. It's very mountain area, and that it's very mountainous in that region of Mexico, and so and it gets cold up there. Like if you're in Colorado or whatnot, you know what I mean. And nights it's very cold, and it's very rough terrain, man. It's it's pretty high elevation there and soil with the mountains. So like I said, it's just I kind of compare it to Colorado.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's probably been probably about, man, 20 years since I've been back to that area. We still have some family that live there, up in the mountains and the regions around the area. But and my dad was actually born up in the mountains, man, in this little small town. And so he would just tell us all kinds of different stories, and kind of like the scary stories too, in a sense, and some of those where I'm sure you heard it, right, like La Chusa, right, where it's like the witch is like a human form, you know what I mean, like a bird or an owl, and
yeah, kind of like
yeah, man, like he would tell us like all kinds of crazy stories, man, and we're like, is this real or what? And I guess, those things that he's heard when he was a child, being up in the ranches, in the mountains, stuff like that. So I don't know if it's true or folklore. So,
well, but there's going to be some kind of truth to it, because it's spread across all indigenous cultures. There's stories in such as the Ojibwe story of the Ojibwe tales of the Wendigo.
Yes.
The Navajo tales of the Skinwalkers, the actual tales of the Skinwalkers, And so, I mean, I believe that there's some form of truth to it, just because it's so widespread that it's not just, only one nation talking about it. It's like they all have something about it.
No, you're right, dude. There's got to be some kind of truth to it, right? I mean, to cross the line that there's something compare, right? They have different names, but kind of like the same.
For sure.
And it's crazy, dude. Like just hearing some of those stories, like, there was one that I can remember my dad was saying, they're at the ranch, and he says that he kind of remembers it, but one of my relatives you know, and the houses and the ranches, you know, and still to these days that they're adobe, right?
Hmm.
That style, right? So that one of his relatives was asleep, man, and you know, woke up to like yelling and screaming. Dude, he was saying that there was fire around the bed, like flames, like crazy, like what the hell, like you know what I mean? So stories like that, man, that you know, as a kid, definitely tripped me out, right? So
Yeah.
I'm sure it tripped him out, but it's just like, man, it's like I don't know, man, it's very supernatural, very I don't know, it's crazy to hear some of these stories, man, that you just don't know what is true or what is not, or if it's just like I said, you know, storytelling, right?
Yeah. And so, I mean, like, I know that even on, there's a lot of stories in our cultures about half humans, half, you know, these creatures. Like, on up in Oklahoma, they have the Deer Woman, and in Montana, we have Goat Man, you know. And on
Yeah.
my reservation, there was an actual task force back in the 80s dedicated to capturing the Goat Man because there were so many sightings. And
Wow.
so, that's why I think that there's a lot of truth in a lot of these stories.
Yeah, man, I feel this the same way, and you know, but then it's just like just in general and creatures alone, you know, you got like what, like, you know, Bigfoot and right, the Yeti and all these other creatures out there that, you know, they talk about and that people may be seen, or the Loch Ness monster, you know, even to that. It's just like how, you know, what there's gotta be some kind of truth to this. I mean, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
something is like somebody had to see something. I don't know, man. It's kind of weird, man, that how things were back then, and you know, there's you know, even back to the you know in religion, right? That there's were giants one time roaming this earth, right? So you know, it's crazy things like that, man. And I don't know. I'm not sure if we'll ever know the truth, but you know, maybe when we're not here anymore, then we'll find out, right? When we're not in this world anymore. So
Right.
yeah,
I've been watching a lot of actually YouTubes on some of the stories from other people and older stories of, you know, their sightings and their experiences, you know, firsthand
yeah,
experiences. And so some of them creepy. But
yeah,
anyways, let's go ahead and get into how you got into the entertainment world, how you started.
yeah, man. So you know, I always tell people that I've always been kind of in the entertainment world in what shape or form. Growing up, I mean, I was born and raised in Chicago, and so I was raised during that breakdancing time. You know, when that first started coming off, and that hip hop world came into effect. So once I was in school, I started to do like join these dance crews, right? And it
Yeah.
was fun because I mean, to be honest, I was like the only Mexican dude. Like, I guess the only good dancing Mexican guy that could break dance or something. I don't know, man. But you know, I was in these break dance crew, and we would perform, man. And we would perform not just in talent shows in school, but you know, they would invite me to like certain events, like if it was like a community event or you know a church event, and I would go perform, man, and dance. So um, I've never been really like it's funny because I am shy, but not shy when it comes to performing, if that makes any sense, right? And so, you know, from there, you know, I did that, and then of course playing sports. I played football most of my whole school into a little bit of college before I got hurt. And so I always tell people, well, that's entertainment as well. You're performing, right? You're out there in the field, and you're performing for other people, right? You're playing a sport, but you know, I've DJ'd, I've done some plays and stuff like that outside of school. So I always, like I said, I always felt like I'm entertaining, or been in the entertainment industry one way or another. But as far as like actually where I'm at now, like full blown, like kind of acting, I give credit to my wife because she's the one that saw something in me, obviously, and then also like, hey, kind of pushing me to do other things. And even though that we had a business you know, during that time, and she was, you know, working her full-time job. I was like, yeah, let's give it a try, right? It's like if you help me and we, you know, nail a gig, then we'll take it from there. So I ended up getting booked. She did everything for me, and so I booked my first gig, and it happened to be on an Amazon Prime production. So I went straight to like not even starting small production. It was like a whole big thing. It was like I've never seen anything like that, and I was drawn to it, man. I was like, yes, I like this. And then, you know, I've always been one to talk to a lot of people. I'm very social, so I started networking and meeting a lot of cool friends that I still talk to now to this day. But I started as background, you know, walking from point A to point B and doing that and stuff like that. And that's kind of how where I began, man. And from there, man, it's just been it's a snowball effect. It's just going, you know.
That is awesome. That
Yeah.
how long ago was that one that you started off in background?
Oh man, that Amazon one probably was gonna be back in like probably like 2018, probably
Nice.
more around there, man. Give or take. But um, and it was a show, and it's still on Amazon Prime, and I'm sad that they only did one season, and it was called Panic. So
Nice.
you guys can still see it on Amazon Prime. I believe it's still there. Check it out. It was a real good series, man. It was a lot of cool people involved, and the actors that were involved, they were real nice. You know, being just the background guy, and um, and it was quite an experience, man. And you know, being on that production, I was able to I was like a sponge, man. I was just absorbing all this information, and you know, anything from the, you know, lingo, right, that they use, right, because it's different, right, when you're on set, and what
Mhm.
different things mean, and you know, everybody's kind of position and what they do, and so yeah, I mean, it was very interesting. You know, it's very interesting to just to see how a production is put together and how it works.
For sure. It
So
creates a new appreciation, especially whenever you're used to just watching them to being on them and seeing the
yeah,
behind the scenes stuff. It just brings a new appreciation to the projects.
yeah, man, definitely. You know, I tell people, man, like, you know, background work, bro, is the stepping stone to this industry. Everybody started there, right?
Mhm.
And you know, by doing background, it's helping me now. You know, being a filmmaker now, making our first feature film, but also I I've learned a lot to what to look for, right? On the back part, you know, like everybody always focuses on the actors itself when they're on scene, but what's going on behind them, right?
Mhm.
And now it's kind of when I watch movies, I'm like looking at the back, not really paying attention to the actors. You know, I'm like looking for like just different things of what's going on. You know, if there's any like inconsistencies or there's any, continuity issues or what's going on. So it kind of ruined my movie experience, man. But at the same time, it's helping me as a first time director, man, going forward. Like, you know,
Mhm.
what to make sure not to use those common mistakes, right?
Yeah.
That can be seen and fixed. So
No, totally get that for sure. Whenever I get on there and I watch some of the movies, I look for a lot of my friends that I've made in background or like
yeah,
TV shows.
no, and that's one of the things too, is like, you know, I'll see my friends post and they're like, "Oh, I'm in this one." And I'll watch it. I was like, "Hey, there we go," you know, and I see them and point them out, and I'll take a little picture of it, you know, a little screenshot, and then, you know, send it to them. It's like, "Oh, I saw you, you know, check it out." And so, um, you know, I end up seeing a lot of friends because I was, you know, I worked on that production is Love and Death, the one that's in HBO.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If you can watch it, man, it's real cool. It's I believe it's like a limited series,
I did
but
watch that actually.
Yeah. Well, if you go back, you'll see me. I'm in the courthouse scene. I'm one of the reporters.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, check it out, man. And I was able to get a chance to do a feature extra as one of the reporters on there, man. It was pretty dope because I got to kind of like briefly talk to like Elizabeth Olsen and some of the other actors that were involved there. Like they were pretty nice, man. For the most part, everything was cool. Um, but I would say like Elizabeth Olsen is probably like one of the I would say she's like an A-lister that I got a chance to work with, right, in the
Mhm.
production. The other one is Ben Affleck and Hypnotic. I was in that, and I got a chance to be right there close to him, talking to him, and then Robert Rodriguez, right? And it was briefly, but it was still cool, and they were cool, right? And
Yeah.
that's the main thing. They were cool about it, right? And
Hmm.
so, but it's kind of one of those things that, and when you play, when you're like a featured extra or a background or whatever, like they always tell you, right? Don't talk to the cast. Don't talk, right? You know how it is, right? Don't talk to, yeah, and yeah, I mean,
Don't talk to them, but don't
but
ignore them.
yeah, but the thing is that, like, for me, it's like if they engage with you, then it's cool. But
Yeah.
it's like I don't want you to engage with them directly. Like be like, hey, come here, let's take pictures. No, like if they talk to you, like,
Don't
hey, man,
distract them.
yeah, don't distract them, right? Because they're in their way, and I get that. I mean,
Yeah.
you but like me myself, um, I always treat everybody with the same kind of respect and love, no matter what, and that's just in my nature. I've been the lead. I've been in those productions, and I always talk to everybody, man, because you just be a kind human being, right? Just be,
Yeah.
don't don't be that guy, don't be that person. You know what I mean? Like you're no better than anybody else, and
Yeah.
if as long as you stay humble and grounded, man, I think that would take that would take anybody a long way. Just not just in this industry, but just in life in general, man. So
For sure. Yeah, I've been on set with some A-listers too, like Dennis Quaid. He was really cool. He acknowledged me, it's my first
yeah,
acting role. And he acknowledged me as well, kind of, chat with me for a little bit. And I was like, kind of get nervous, like, am I gonna get in trouble for this? He started talking to me, you know.
yeah, man.
On another production I got to work with uh oh, I'm sorry, I even said his name just earlier too. But
Well, you did the
he
night.
was
Was it 1923? Did you do, or which one did you? Did you do one of those? And
I
in one
did
of
do
those?
1923 as well, and I also did another Taylor Sheridan one as well too. And
Okay.
1923, I got to talk to some of the leads that they came up and they talked to us in the break, because I was standing off to the side, and they weren't on set at that day, but they came
Yeah.
up and they talked to us too, which was really
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Uh, he started Billy Bob Thornton. On
Oh, Billy
another
Bob.
set, I got to work with Billy Bob Thornton. He is really cool guy. I was just sitting there, and he walked by and they were doing a scene, but he walked by me and he like pat me on my back. He's like, "How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you here." And I was like, just gave him a thumbs up. I was like, "Doing good,"
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
and then the next day, I was talking to another extra. We were sitting on set, and I was like, Billy Bob greeted me yesterday. He's so cool. He's like, no, no way. I was like, yeah. He's like, did you get in trouble? I was like, well, I didn't say anything back. I just gave him a thumbs up, And so he's like, no way. So he was on set that day too. He come walking past me, and he was like, oh, good to see you again, buddy. And then I looked back over him, and he goes, he really did talk to you. But I know that he started off in
Hey, man.
background too, so really cool guy.
Yeah, man. Um, the majority of these these big, mainstream actors, man. The majority of them started with background, right?
Mhm.
And they've been through the ins and outs, man. And usually those people are the most humbling ones, man. And I understand that when you're ready to perform and you're in your zone, definitely, that's when you leave people alone, right? When you're
Mhm.
ready to perform. But But
Sure.
it's always cool to encounter people that way because it's it can be very disappointing, man, when you finally meet a person, um, that you've held to a certain level or just kind of respect as an artist, and they turn around being like the biggest a-hole. You know what I mean? That's the worst feeling, dude. You know what I mean? Like, really,
Yeah.
man, like all this time, and you can't even, or they say something bad, or I don't know, man. It's
Yeah,
I
there was
think that.
I have a similar experience. There was a recent Indigenous actor that I kind of looked up to, a little bit, and was like, hey, this guy's got to be really cool. I thought that, sometimes that we'd get to work together on different stuff, and I was kind of excited to meet and talk to him, and we're chatting, and just some things went down, and it was just a really big letdown, because I thought he was going to be a lot cooler than that. I'm not going to say any more on it, but, that's,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, it can go either way. I agree. Now,
yeah, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, okay. Oh no, what was you gonna say? Sorry.
No, 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 nothing. I would just like kind of go off of that. It's just, yeah, man, you're right, dude. It just sometimes it's sad to say that it's even your own people that are kind of the biggest haters sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
kind of
hey,
like
man, just
it's like and I've said it on the show a couple times. I was watching Lopez versus Lopez, and one of the
yeah,
things that he brings up is bucket crabs. And
yeah.
so it's like they feel threatened by you, so they decide that they
It's,
got to put you down.
yeah, and that's what it is, man. But yeah, like, that's a whole different topic in its own for sure, right?
Hmm. Yeah. One of our crowd said, "Never meet your hero," is what they say. They will always let you down.
Yeah, that is true, man. That is true.
And so, but anyway, so getting back on topic now,
Hmm.
how long did it take you to move from background to reading lines?
That's a good question, man. I'm gonna say probably maybe about a year.
About a
Probably
year?
about and I might be off a couple of months. You know what I mean? Give or take. I'm trying to quite remember, but um, the actual first time that I got some lines, and it was for another big production. It was a movie called uh, what was it called? Hold on, I'm trying to Free Dead or Alive, and it was filmed out in Terlingua, out there off of in West and Alpine, out there in West Texas,
Okay.
and kind of like the middle of nowhere, right? That's where that Marfa thing is at, not that way. So yeah, man, it was crazy. That was my first SAG job, production that I did, and I played this street vendor, and I had one line, and it was great. I didn't have to memorize a lot, but it was cool, dude, because that was the first time that it would just happen that I fit the bill, right? Like
Hmm.
everything, right? It was great, but that was the first time that I experienced the other side, because I was so used to background, being on my feet all damn day, walking, tired as hell, right? Long hours, you know how it goes. And they like paid for our hotel. I mean, paid for everything. Kind of gave me a travel per diem and everything. I was like, okay, like I like this. I like this treatment. So
That's awesome.
it was cool, man. It was cool. I got to be on the other side, and that was the first time. But but before that, there was a lot of background, and featured, right?
Hmm.
Featured extra stuff, and I was just learning, observing, taking classes, work on my craft, right?
Hmm.
And until that time came, and it will come. And I just encourage everybody out there to keep on pushing and keep on learning, keep on studying, and that's it, man. You just gotta keep on uh, you know educating yourself, right? And
Yeah,
learning to practice. So yeah.
for sure. It's about honing your gifts.
Yep.
My first featured role really was on a music video.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, it was. ESTG music video. Well, it's a music video slash short film for El Toro. And I showed up to set. You know, they paid for my hotel because I had to stay 2 nights because
Yeah.
certain things went down and it was really hot, and so they needed rest. So we ended up doing 2 nights. I was down there in Houston, and it was really cool. They gave me a holster. You know, I didn't know what to expect because they didn't really tell me a whole lot. I just kind of showed
Yeah.
up, got dressed up, and they gave me a holster. And I was like, huh. When I did the fitting, I didn't have a holster. Okay, and so the director, he goes, I purposely didn't tell you what you were doing just to put you on the spot, see what you come up with.
Oh, yeah. You never know, man. You never know what happens on set, dude.
And so I didn't have to say anything, but I had to convey emotions and fear and stuff like that, and that I was inexperienced with gun, you know. And so it turned out pretty cool. The music video is really cool. It was a little short clip, but I got to meet some great people, and the director was Kid Art, who was actually on set my first day on Bass Reeves. And
What?
so yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
My first speaking line was actually with you.
Oh, really? No
Yeah, that
way.
was my first time speaking on a
Yeah.
film. So
Hey, man, that's what's up, man. Man, you know that was such a man. You did so good. That was such a great scene that we did together in American Coyote. And and the thing is that what was cool about it is, and I'm sure if you remember this, but like Marcus kind of let me kind of direct that whole thing.
mhm.
He was just like, hey man, you know what you're doing. Um, you know, make it your own. And you remember, me talking with you and doing all this stuff and the rest of the fellas, man. And I think it was such a great scene. And I mean, you just you went with it, you stuck with it, and we threw in a lot of stuff in there, and you continue. You know what I mean? You like I said, they would always tell me you're always acting, and you always got to act until it's done, right? And so I really commend you on that, dude. You did a great job. It's gonna be a great scene, man, and I can't wait for people to see that.
Yeah,
It's
I can't wait to see
intense.
it too. It
Yeah.
was really fun. I knew that was kind of it was a bit of a test part because there was some parts that I wasn't expecting, and I was just like, just keep going.
Yeah, I won't say too much, man. I don't want to give a lot away,
Me
man.
neither. That's why I was just like, I just kind of figured, just keep going with it.
Yeah, and the thing is that I think some of the things I didn't even like tell you I was gonna do. I just did it. But that's kind of one of those things, man. It's just like it's just you put yourself in that character and you go with it, right? I mean, of course, respectively and stuff like that, and not hurting anybody, but
Mhm.
you went with it, and it I think it's gonna. I know it turned out great, dude, because well, first of all, I was told, right, like, oh man, that scene was killer. I haven't watched it, but I think I saw some stills in it, and man, it was awesome, dude. So
Yeah, I really appreciate the ones that they had made, and I put one on my my Facebook for the back or for the wall. I think it is the wall
yeah,
photo, and that's the
yeah,
one of me and you.
yeah, man. No, dude. Definitely. Now that we're doing films on this side, with me and my wife, and with our partners with Ocho and all that, with Hollywood Ocho, and
Mhm.
we're gonna be doing a lot more films, bro, and definitely, man. We have you in mind, man, for some stuff. There's some stuff coming out. My wife got a couple of scripts in the back burner too that I know for a fact that Ocho wants to film.
Nice.
Pretty, within the next year, right? In this year coming up. So,
Yeah.
of course, we're doing the Alamo City zombie one, and we're doing that now, and we actually start filming this weekend, man. First days,
Oh,
Saturday,
nice.
Sunday, man. So, um, but yeah, it's gonna be cool, man. It's gonna be exciting, dude, and I can't wait for you guys to once that comes out, man, you know, I'll send the invite for the red carpet so you guys can come out and check it out and, you know, show some love. And please follow the Alamo City Zombie page. It's on Instagram, on Facebook as well. And so you guys can get up to date, man. So we're excited, man. This is our first feature film. It's you know, a lot of excitement, but also some nervousness, right? So
Sure.
we want to make sure that we do a good quality film for everybody.
I think it's going to be amazing. You know, I've seen a lot of your work and it looks great. So, for everybody that's listening, that will be listening on the audio with Spotify, this episode is recorded on the 14th and released on the 22nd. So by this weekend, it's not the weekend that you're probably going to be hearing it on Spotify or on the streaming platform. So, it will already be in production, which will be pretty awesome. And congratulations on that as well. I just want to make sure that everybody, you know, knows the differences between it because uh, you know, this is going to be the first episode that we do ahead of about a week ahead of, you know, actually releasing them. So that way we have a little bit better time for editing and being able to put, you know, different clips on them as well as, you know, stuff like that. It kind of gives a bit more time, I think,
Awesome,
better.
man. Dude, I mean, hey, man, I really appreciate, you know, you know, thinking of me and, you know, being part of, you know, this interview, you know, with you guys and can't wait for it to be all, you know, once it's released, you know, and you put it out there and, you know, Spotify for the audio and just, cause I believe you put this on YouTube as well, right? Is that correct? Or
Yeah, actually, it live streams onto YouTube, which we're sharing to the Facebook page. And I have it on Facebook. So,
okay.
but I believe that we want to do an edited version as well, so that way we can try to show some clips. Okay.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah. I should be able to have some stuff for you. I think we talked about this too earlier. So I want to definitely give you those things that you need. And so all you lovely viewers can see a couple of things that we're working on. So one of them is this one right here. If y'all can see this, this is King of the South series that we're doing. And we're actually filming tomorrow a scene. So actually, we are talking to the director, Carmona. I believe he told me that we're maybe like 3 scenes away from wrapping up season 1, going to the editing process, and then going to distribution, man. And so, you know, hopefully you guys will be streaming the first season of King of the South. Hopefully, definitely 2025, but for sure first quarter, man. So y'all be on the lookout for that, man. And also, you know, for any updates, you know, please y'all, you know, follow the social media, you know, as well. King of the South series is on Instagram and on Facebook. And, you know, we try to put a lot of content and updates for our viewers and then for our fans and stuff like that. So, perfect. And man, this, and I think later on, man, I can get you in there, La Fiamma. We got some stuff. It's only the first season, man. So there's going to be evolving characters and a whole bunch of other stuff, man. So, you know, definitely there's going to be a lot more, you know, twists and turns and more characters, man. So I'll let you know in advance for sure too.
I appreciate it. You know, I'm ready. I appreciate you guys. Now, one last question real quick. Can you tell us a little bit about, it's TJ or
TGF?
Yeah, TGF talent,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's funny. It does get a little tongue twisty, right? But yeah, TJF Talent Management. So just so everybody wants to know, the T stands for my wife, Terry. JJ Fernandez Talent Management. So TJF Talent. But yeah, man. So we've you know, we've had the management. I would say probably about 6 months, give or take. And so, and it's been great, man. You know, we have a handful of you know, wonderful artists that we're managing. From you know, of course, obviously actors, models, and musical artists, man. So, you know, we're across the board, and you know, we're just trying to help our artists, you know, elevate themselves to the next level and kind of be their support group as management. You know, we handle everything. Basically, we handle the business part of the industry, right?
Hmm.
So that's what we do. Now, of course, if we see any casting, you know, if we see something that's maybe sent to us, then we'll send to our talent and see if there's something that they want to do. But also, you know, being under the management, we have networking, you know, with different directors and filmmakers where uh you guys kind of have a foot at least to audition, right? And get that first, you know, that first shot, I guess, right? To
For
get
sure.
yourself in this production, man. So you know, we bring a lot of benefits, you know, in that aspect. But like I said, we're the business part. You know, we want to make sure that our clients, you know, get everything that they deserve, right, from these productions, right, and also make sure that they're not taking advantage as well. So,
For sure.
and
And
and I think it's very important, man.
definitely, definitely, because there's a lot of people that are more than willing to take advantage of people, unfortunately. So it's glad that you guys are there and taking care of your talent. Now,
Yeah.
you guys are on Facebook. Do you have a website as well, or just Facebook right now?
So we're working on the website. We're just trying to get it right. We're, you know, with our web designer, but we're all on Facebook and we're all on Instagram, TJF Talent. So you guys please follow us and you know, we always update things on there as well and put out casting when we can or when it's brought up to us. But also, if you guys have any questions, please reach out to us. You can DM us or you can get with us at our email, which is info@tjftalent.com. So, and we'll be more happy to answer any questions, man, and or at least assist and help, right? So, no matter what, you know, even though that we're management, I'm we're still here to help across the board, right? One way or another. So it's either, you know, point, you know, any artist to the right direction or just any consultation, man. Just like, hey, you know, they got questions. And that's kind of how we got into that, Lafayette. You know, it's just like that, you know, a lot of actors, you know, a lot of artists will come up to us and just, hey, man, can you help me? How do I do this? How do I, you know, because a lot of people don't know, man. And because I learned too the hard way. And so, and we're just spreading the love back, man. That's it. You know what I mean? So,
That's awesome. And
yeah.
I'm definitely interested myself, you know, because I'm still learning myself.
Yeah.
I'm still fairly new, you know, like I said, whenever I did the scene with you, that was my first speaking role. Before then, I had done the feature with the music video, and then I had done a lot of background, and I did a modeling job, you know, that I did a while back. That was pretty cool. It was a nice paycheck, so I was happy about that.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I don't knock on any of that stuff, man. Commercials, man, when I can get them, I love them, man, because they pay very well, dude. They pay very well, and I've done some pretty good ones around. You know, you know, I've been sent screenshots of my face has been on the side of a bus, which is pretty cool. And you know, just commercials on TV that people screen record and they send to me, and I was like, but do I ever get to see that? No, I never get to see that. Everybody else does, but that's how it is, man. And I'm just glad it's out there and people see it, and it's pretty cool, man. And but yeah, man, I would say, you know, if you see anything, man, any commercials, whatever, man, go for it, dude. And you know what? I mean, you're a good actor, dude. You know, you got a great look. Um, and all you gotta do is keep on growing, man. And I see you getting up there, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Of
And
course.
you know, you're actually the second person that I've heard from that has said, you know, it's about looks. You know, one of them, he was one of the guys from Legacy Casting, and it was probably my fourth, no, my fifth day on Bass Reeves, and because originally I was only booked for three, and
Yeah.
then I got booked for another one. You know, we got booked for another one, and then I got booked for 2 more days. And that's whenever he came up and he was talking to me, and he was saying, you know, a lot of people, you know, he goes, a lot of people think that, you know, it's about, most of it's about ability. He goes, and
Yeah.
to an extent, ability is important. However, what most people don't understand is that it's a look. You know, a lot of
Yeah.
times they're looking for a look, and if you match the look, then that works out for you. He goes, take Tom Cruise. He said, "Are there better actors than Tom Cruise?" He goes, "Hell yeah, there's a lot better actors than Tom Cruise, but do they look like Tom Cruise? They do
Yeah.
not."
Yeah.
And so, you know, he said it's definitely mostly a look. Talent does play into it, but it's definitely a look.
Yeah, man. I've just like you. I've been told that plenty of times, man. They're just like, you got that look. You got that look. It's the hair, right? It's covered right now, right? But the white hair, the way it goes, like all that stuff, like um, I think sometimes my hair gives me more gigs than anything else, man. But that plays to a lot of different characters that I can do, though. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like only playing the bad guy. I can play a dad, an uncle. I played a doctor. Playing a politician. You know what I mean? And
Nice.
a detective, FBI agent. So it just, I think it's the hair, the maturity look, right? The look, right? What we're talking
Mhm.
about, and you're right. It does play a big factor, man. And but I try to work on to be well-round, right? Artist, not just on the look, but make sure to deliver a good performance, man. So
For sure. Now, did you take any acting classes or?
yeah, and I sure did, man. I took some. The big one I took was out of LA, and that was Stella Adler. I took some classes uh, about a year with them, and I learned a lot, man. It was great. If you look them up, man, they're one of the top acting schools around. And so it's based out of New York and LA and New York, but I took the LA one. And dude, you have to go through a interview process.
Wow.
Like it's not just like, oh hey, um, give me your money, fill an application, and you're on. You know what I mean? No, dude,
Hmm.
I had to sit down just like this and in a Zoom and speaking to one of their representatives, man, and kind of just like an audition, man. Well, I did it, I nailed it, they loved me, and I was able to take their courses, man, and but no matter what, man, say if you don't do a school, as that, you can do a lot of things on YouTube. There's a lot of online stuff, man. A lot of free seminars around Dallas or San Antonio or anywhere where you live, right? You can find something, man. And
For
I
sure.
think if you can, take any kind of course and just, learn and be well rounded, that's what's important, right?
One of the
And
things I try to do is because I am kind of limited on income is I'll check it out to uh, YouTube, and then I'll practice it on my camera.
yeah,
I'll practice it to try to put it in practice because I do want to go to acting school and take acting courses and classes and work
yeah,
with somebody. But in the meantime, I do the best I can to find
yeah.
another one now. We are getting really close on time to start winding down, so I really appreciate you coming on. Thanks for
Thank you.
dealing with our technical difficulties as well.
It's all good, man. I'm just glad to be a part of it. And too, also, just real quick before we close out, as you know, I know you didn't get a chance to make it, but we do workshops, actors workshops, and I just kind of wanted to put that out there that we are going to have more coming up too, as for for you later on, Lafayette, if you can make it, or anybody that's out there listening. Yes, we're here out of San Antonio, and we provide a good class, man. The last class was pretty successful. About 10 actors came in, and they got headshots. They got some we recorded a scene for their demo reel. So it
Nice.
was kind of like, yeah, man. It was long. It was a weekend, but it was definitely well worth what they got for it, man. So we're working as well, doing some Zoom stuff as well later on. But we're going to be having some master classes pretty soon. We'll have some guest speakers coming in, so and directors. So yeah, we're going to have Zoom stuff in person classes and whatever we can do to help anybody out there, man. Just we'll guys let you know. Just follow our pages and then our our social media platforms, and we'll let you guys know when the next one's up.
Okay, sounds good. And now for everybody listening again, that's T as in Tom or Terry.
Yep.
J as in JJ. F as in Fernandez. Talent. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram.
You got
All
it,
right.
brother. I appreciate you guys, man.
I really appreciate you too. Now we got to hold on for a little bit until it completely uploads. Okay.
Okay, man.
And so just hang out with me for a little bit, and then Will let us know whenever we can go ahead and leave. Okay.
Sounds good, brother. Appreciate you,
All
man.
right. Appreciate you too. Appreciate Will. This is Bell Ringer.